ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, welcomes you to the Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, for the opening round of the 1994 SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing. Today, it's the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, working alongside for the third year in a row, Ivan the Iron Man Stewart. It's great to see you again. And boy, are we pumped for the 94 season. If you were with us last year, you know how difficult it was for the drivers to win the True Value Pro Series Championship in classes 8, 4, and 7S. But this year, it's going to be even tougher.
Oh, let me tell you about it, Marty. Defending champion Scott Taylor is back, and he's going to have a tremendous truck here. He's been working hard all winter long. Walker Evans got a brand new truck. A new guy has come out. Scott Douglas from California. He's got Walker Evans' old truck. He's going to be tough, believe me.
Now, there's a third member of our broadcast team this year, Rick Johnson. You may recognize him from driving the Chevy Thunder in the Mickey Thompson Stadium Series. Well, we're just glad to have him down pit side. Rick?
This is not the Indy 500 or the Baja 1000. Pit stops are not a part of short course off-road racing. If a driver comes in here during his race, it means he's had a problem on the track. We'll be here to give you that information. I'll be in the pits all day talking to drivers, mechanics, and crew chiefs to give you the inside lines from behind the scenes.
Well, thanks, Rick. You're definitely the one guy no driver wants to see today. Race conditions absolutely perfect. If you've been with us the last 2 years at Lake Geneva, you know the weather gods have plagued us, but today they are cooperating. Now let's take a look at this wonderful layout at Lake Geneva, Ivan.
Well, Marty, this is one of the trickiest tracks we have, in that we have a long, high-speed straightaway into a real sharp right-hand corner here. You can see it's slick, and you can see exactly what happens if these guys come in too hot. Back around the backside gets loose and gnarly, hard to pass, big right-hand corners, and then we have the front section that's a transition from dirt to asphalt and then back in the dirt again. You can see what happens right here when the guys get a little too hot coming into this corner. This is Walker Evans too hot.
That's all action from last year's race, and we're getting ready for action in 1994, kicking off the SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing with Class 8 action. As you see, the trucks coming out on the line. Now, here is the way things ended last year in 1993 in the True Value Pro Series in Class 8. Scott Taylor won by 9 points over Walker Evans. On down through the top 10, and you see some names. Jimmy Crowder looking to improve on his 8th place finish from last year as well. And that championship, as we ride on board with Scott Taylor and our onboard camera system, earned him a position with the Ford Rough Rider team for 1994. Now, this is how you score points in the True Value Pro Series. First place is worth 20, second 16, third 14, fourth 12, and fifth place 11. Now, you can only score points through the top 10 places. So if you do not finish or you do not score in the top 10, it can be very costly, as Walker Evans found out last year at Lake Odessa, as did Jack Flannery. All right, let's take a look now at what makes up a Class 8 truck, Ivan.
Two-wheel drive production pickup, engine of 600 to 800 cubic inches, 500 to 850 horsepower, minimum weight 3,700 pounds.
And boy, will these guys sling these 3,700-pound trucks around this race course. And there he is in this Chevrolet starting field, Scott Taylor, the defending class champion. Then Walker Evans from Riverside, California, finished second last year. He wants to take the championship crown in 1994. Jimmy Crowder, all the way from Tallahassee, Florida, owns a trucking company. He'll be in the 837. It's also a Ford. Scott Douglas, a newcomer to the series. He is in a Dodge, and a brand new truck that we are expecting big things from. And you can see, as we take a look at the rest of the starting field, Jed Flannery, Darren Vandrell, John Conacher, this is a Le Mans type start. So these guys will be taking the green flag and making a mad dash for the first corner. And again, we talked about it, Ivan. You get so much speed coming over this first jump that a lot of guys get too hot going down into turn 1.
And Marty, what's hard to see is it's blind coming over that first jump. So the guy just jumps out there just hoping everybody else is moved away from him.
Through turn 1, it's Jimmy Crowder leading Scott Taylor. Walker Evans is third. Darren Vandrell is fourth. And look at the dust that is kicking up. How can you see through this?
Marty, that's why I talk about the start is so critical. You've got to get out in front. The guy in the front is the only one that can see what's going on.
That hard left-hander. Now, the next right-hander sets these guys up onto that long back straightaway that we talked about. And, boy, getting sideways, Jimmy Crowder.
This is a good passing opportunity. This is about the best place back in this area to get past.
Taylor trying to reel in Jimmy Crowder. Evans in third place as they come. Oh, boy, Scott Taylor hits a rut right there, sends the front end flying straight skyward. Through that tight, twisty section onto a hard right-hander. Boy, and Walker Evans getting a little wide on board with Scott Taylor. Now, Now, this left-hander leads to a short squirt of power down to a hard 180-degree right-hander, and then that sets you up for the front straightaway transition area from dirt to pavement. Whoa, wait a minute. That's Walker Evans, and it looks like he has got spun around, and Dave Hockers is also caught up in that. And Evans has dropped back to 5th place, so Walker Evans losing all important ground.
That doesn't happen. You just don't see that very often, Walker Evans.
There is Darren Van Drell. He is now in front of Scott Douglas.
I noticed that Scott Taylor is really being patient. This is really pays off sometime with Jimmy Crowder here.
Jimmy Crowder in the view right there and right in his sights. As you see, Jimmy finished in the top 5 3 times. And you're right, Scott Taylor does seem to be biding his time right here and waiting for the opportunity.
He really does. I'm really proud of him because a few times last year I see him get over-aggressive and it cost him. So he's really being patient.
You see how rough it is, the vibration of the onboard camera as these guys pound over this dirt at the layout here at the Lake Geneva Raceway. Now, here's a section where the course gets a little wet on them, right through that corner, then right down through that long back straightaway that we talked about into this hard right-hander right here.
Here comes the right-hander, and it is a good place to pass. It looks like Scott's going to give him a shot. No, he didn't either. Still being patient,
Jimmy Crowder doing an excellent job of holding on to the lead. Right up behind him now, Scott Taylor. A couple of Fords going after each other. Now, Crowder's got the inside line here.
Oh, no, Scott got way wide on that one. He lost a lot of ground.
So now Jimmy Crowder gets a little bit of breathing room back on board as we see him try and reel him in one more time. And again, this area right here, a lot of water placed on that corner, so it makes it a very slippery transition.
It looked like Jimmy Crowder got way sideways, and Scotty took advantage of it.
And Taylor has taken the lead as he comes onto the pavement, ending lap number 2. Now, we are being told that Jimmy Crowder is being given a black flag, and yes, he's pulling up, but Ivan, he's pulling up at the wrong spot.
I don't know what he did or why he's doing it, or he's pulling up right here. Now they're telling him to go again. What a confusing issue here.
Oh, the black flag penalty area is down by pit lane, so he has made the stop at the wrong place. And now we'll get an idea just how big a lead Scott Taylor has as we get the clock running. Second place now should be Walker Evans as he has fought his way back after his early spin. And here he comes. You can just see the outline of the truck, and it's 10.15 seconds.
Well, that really hurt Jimmy Crowder. Walker Evans on the warpath. Now let's see if he can reel in Scott Taylor.
Well, there he is in control of this race by over 10 seconds. And there's a man who, well, future racer might be your crew chief there, Ivan. Stay with us at the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, Rick Johnson is down in pit lane, and this is Class 8 action. You just saw the leader, and that was Scott Taylor. Walker Evans in second place, trying to reel him in.
Let's see if Walker's going to gain on him here. Walker's got a brand new truck this year. Let's see if he's actually going to put time on Scott Taylor.
That transition area, this is where that's bit Walker Evans last year. He remembers it very well. Then you shoot back up over this very big jump.
And Walker's truck's not handling very well. Watch how high the front end flies. That's too high, Marty. They've got to adjust that thing, bring some spring pressure down in the front of the truck. It just doesn't look good.
So he is launching off each one of these jumps, and the brand new truck giving up some ground. Now this is the battle for fourth between Dave Hockers and Jimmy Crowder. Now let's clean up the issue as far as that black flag on Jimmy Crowder as he is trying to get around Dave Hockers. He cut the course on the very first lap, right there to be in fact. He got outside of one of the tire markers, and therefore that was the reason for the penalty. And then the mistake really cost him by reporting to the wrong place on the track, so he finds himself in fifth.
He had to make a quick decision on, do I hit the tire or go around behind it? He chose to go behind it. Now here's Scott Douglas. I want to make a prediction, Marty. Scott Douglas is going to be tough before the end of the year. He's running third now. So actually it's a new truck for him, Walker's old truck. He is going to be tough.
Herzog Racing involved with that program, and right now he is doing very well in third place. The final lap for this man, as he looks like he's going to pick up right where he left off last year when he won the True Value Pro Series Championship. Look at the margin. Now that is lap traffic in front. That's John Conitzer, and the margin has widened to 11.4 seconds over Walker Evans. So you're right, Ivan. Walker's got to go back and do a little more work on this brand new Dodge.
He really does. You know, and also Scott Taylor now has done a lot of work on his truck. I understand he's done back at the shop, and they've done a lot of retuning on the back of his car, cut the back of it off, and it seems to be working very well for him.
Look at the amount of dust these guys must fight through. This is Hockers in fourth place, trying to hold off the charging Jimmy Crowder in fifth. They are side by side. They come down the front straightaway, and yes, it is going to be Jimmy Crowder moving back into 4th place.
Good move on Jimmy's part.
So Crowder, after that disaster, has come back to take over 4th place. Here is the race leader, soon to be the race winner. Will get one more interval as he makes this corner. And you can see how far back Walker Evans is. Is he closing the gap? We'll
I believe he is, Marty.
7.19 seconds, but this being the final lap, Ivan, I don't think it's enough. It may be that Scott Taylor is just taking it easy, bringing it on home to the checkered flag.
That's a good point. He's making these 180-degree corners. You can see Walker back there. He says, well, I've got a lead. He's not going to get by me. Let's just let him stay back there. If he gains, fine. If he doesn't, fine.
There is Walker. This is the final turn on the front straightaway. Back to our leader, Scott Taylor. He's going to win here at Lake Geneva in round number 1 of the True Value Pro Point Series. He takes the checkered flag and the win. 2nd place will go to Walker Evans. This is a great start for Scott Taylor because last year at this event, he did not finish. Now remember, he went on to win the championship, and now he's got even a better start right out of the gate in round number 1. We'll talk to our winner at the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100 right after this. Stewart and Rick Johnson back with you at the Lake Geneva Raceway for the Chevrolet Memorial Day 100. Ivan's made his way down to Victory Lane.
Well, Scott, I tell you, we talk about a lot of things in off-road racing. We know the start is so critical, the tire combination. You start on asphalt. What did you do for tires? You got such a great start, other than Jimmy Crowder?
Well, I tell you, Ivan, we got a good hole shot. I had just come out of the 7S, and I knew what the flagman was going to do. He turned around, he turned his back to us, and up went the flag, and I knew he was going to do that. So I got a good start. I got a real good start today. And BF Goodrich has worked out some new tires for us, they're the Project TAs, and they are working super. We tested them last year. We picked up 3 seconds on a lap, and the tires worked absolutely terrific. We couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, this will be the only time that we'll be able to combine the top 10 and the True Value Pro Series Championship. Scott Taylor, Walker Evans, and Scott Douglas taking the top 3 spots. And Darren Vandrell in his first Class 8 race taking the 10 points that go with the 6th place position. So that's the Pro Series points as they stand after round number 1. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports, welcomes you to round number 2 of the SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing. Today we're in Antigo, Wisconsin for the Chevrolet Off-Road Championship. Class 8, everybody's focusing on Walker Evans. He finished 2nd at round number 1 in Lake Geneva, but we found out just a couple of hours ago he had some problems. With more on that story, here's my partner, Ivan Stewart.
Marty, I got Walker Evans. Walker finished 2nd in Lake Geneva, and the very worst possible thing could have happened to him. He just come off a pre-run 2 hours ago and just blew a motor. Walker, what are we going to do?
Well, we got to change it. I'll tell you right now, I'm not very happy about it. It was really running good, but that's one of the things in racing, as you well know. It's being changed, and we'll be back out there.
One of the worst thing I'm afraid it's going to be is the fact you're not going to get a chance to go out there and do a pre-run. You won't know for sure if the carburetor's set up right. That's going to really be tough, I know.
Well, there's going to be some unknowns. There's no doubt about it. Anytime you completely remove a motor, put another one back in the truck, and drive it straight out on the track and go for that win, there's going to be little ifs and doubts in your mind, but we'll make the best of it. You watch.
Well, I know Walker Evans wants his championship in the worst way. That's a story in Class 8.
Let's take a look at the race conditions, and the bottom of the screen's the important factor. There are thunderstorms in the area. Hopefully, they may skirt us, but it doesn't look good right now. Let's take a look at this course layout, Ivan.
Well, Marty, as you can see, we're running an existing sprint car track. We start on the back straightaway, down the front side, around a big sweeper, into the Moco section. Lots of passing down here. As you can see, there's either guys get through here well or they don't. Lots of action. Back around the backside, up a hill, and as you know, we've had a lot of action in this area.
Yeah, turn 4 right here. Watch what happens to Jeff Dorr. You get offline, and you are in big, big trouble here at Antigo, Wisconsin, the Langlade County Fairgrounds. Now, we're getting ready for Class 8 action. The truck's coming out onto the race course, and look at the grandstands. A capacity crowd on hand here at Antigo. So let's take a look now at the True Value Pro Series in this division. Scott Taylor and Walker Evans running 1-2, and Scott Douglas, the newcomer to the series, he is doing very well in 3rd place. On down through the top 10 in the point standings, and you can pick out your favorite driver and see how they have performed so far after round number 1. On board now with Scott Taylor. This is the view that he sees out the front of that big Ford Rough Rider as he is getting ready to pull in the line for the start of this race. Let's take a look at what Class 8 is all about, Ivan.
Marty, 2-wheel drive production pickups. They make just about 500, 850 horsepower. Minimum weight is 3,700 pounds.
Let's set the Chevrolet starting field for you. The man who won round number 1, defending champion, Scott Taylor from Belvedere, Illinois. He'll be on the Ford. Walker Evans, remember, he's coming out with an untested motor. He'll be in the 817, a brand new Dodge. Another of the Dodge contingent, Scott Douglas from El Cajon, California. He'll be in the 807. Dave Hockers from De Pere, Wisconsin. He'll be in the 802. Also in the starting field for the first time this year, we see Jamie Flannery in the number 815 Chevrolet. Jimmy Crowder, the 837. That's a Ford pickup, and Jimmy from Tallahassee, Florida. And Jamie Flannery's brother Jed will also be in this field in Class 8. He's in another of the Chevrolet contingent. He'll be in the 812. Now, as we set the rest of the field with Chuck Brand, Brian Donlevy, and John Conitzer, this rolling start. First time the series has ever tried it. And, Ivan, what do you expect to see?
Well, this is going to be interesting. We'll see, Marty. I think could be a good idea.
3 across as they come around the outside part of the oval here, and on that front row on the pole position you can see it is the 800 defending champion of Scott Taylor.
What it should do, Marty, is eliminate these guys from running the back of the next car in front of them. The guy that doesn't get a good start, everybody rolling, everybody moving smooth, it should let them get a good start.
So as we wait for the pace truck to pull in, these 10 vehicles head towards that man. Mark Borneman, most stylish starter you'll ever see. He wears a white tuxedo. You'll get a great look at him when he waves the checker flag down on the course.
They look good, Marty. They're all lined up. They're off.
Scott Taylor gets a great start in front of the capacity crowd here at Anago. And look at Walker Evans trying to hug that inside line.
He's on a low line. Let's see which one works the best there. It's hard to say. Down in the mogul section.
The 3 of that's Jimmy Crowder in front, right in the middle. Walker Evans on the right, Scott Taylor on the left.
Look at Walker Evans working that inside. He just loves them rough tracks.
Oh, and a little contact as he dives for the lead. Walker Evans gets around Jimmy Crowder, and then it is Scott Taylor in 3rd. 4th place is Scott Douglas, and we're on board with Scott Taylor.
Look at the amount of dirt that's coming up off those back tires of Walker Evans' truck. He is flat putting some dirt out.
Trying to get around Jimmy Crowder. Scott Taylor looks like he may do it as they come back up. No. Crowder holds him up. Oh, and boy, you can get pitched off there into that guardrail.
He tries the other side. He may get him on the inside here, Marty.
Hard left hand, 180-degree turn. This takes you down on the infield of the Langley County Fairgrounds, and it is Scott Taylor moving into 2nd place.
Walker almost got a little bit too wide there, Marty. I can see where Scott was looking at. He said, "Wait, maybe I can get underneath this guy right here."
Oh, and Walker does get wide.
And the same thing. He may remember now, we talked about Randy Truck for Walker Evans, so he's probably having a little teething problem with that thing.
Well, also remember, that is a brand new motor in there. May not be putting out the same amount of torque or horsepower. Look at it. It stalls.
He's got a problem of some sort. Now you got to fire it again.
Walker Evans stalls momentarily. This could be the opening that Scott Taylor needed.
Marty, this is the big problem when you change an engine like Walker had to do. You never know if you got the float levels off with an electrical problem. Something is obviously going on with this truck.
Down through turn 1, up over the jump. You're on board. Hold on. Here we go through the rhythm section.
Watch him fight the wheel there. Let's see how well his truck handles. This is a good indication right here on how well the truck is, how much Walker got him on the outside.
And Walker Evans comes around on the outside. You see the pass being made.
And a little smoke, Marty, a little bit of smoke. See, those are the big problems here you're going to have without testing.
Boy, Walker Evans, is he in trouble this early into this race here at Anago? There's Walker Evans and Scott Taylor. Here comes the battle for 3rd. That's Jimmy Crowder. Oh, he gets a little wide, and Jamie Flannery moves into 3rd position. Now, Rick Johnson has made his way over to Walker Evans' camp. We may be able to get more on the possible problems with Walker Evans.
Randy Anderson, crew chief for Walker Evans. Walker's got a commanding lead, but there's certain times that the car seems to stop working in the corners. Has he reported any troubles?
Yeah, we got a little bit of a carburetor problem at the moment, but he's got it worked out. He's pretty happy with it right now. We got it working good today.
So we now know it's a carburetor problem, and that's one of those adjustments that you talked about, Ivan.
Well, that's why you need to run the truck, especially after changing the motor, Marty.
And, of course, they had absolutely no opportunity to do that. Now, there is a battle. That's Scott Douglas trying to get around Jimmy Crowder. That is for 4th position. Stay with us. When we come back, you won't miss a thing here at the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships. Walker Evans, your leader. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson back with you at the Langley County Fairgrounds for the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships. This is the battle for 4th between Jimmy Crowder and Scott Douglas.
Scott Douglas being the newcomer, Marty. Notice when Jimmy Crowder jumps, how his truck gets sideways, loses momentum and speed. That's when Scott takes advantage of it.
So is it tire selection or is it horsepower?
No, I think more than anything, Marty, just the way the truck is set up. It flies off, the jump's a little crooked, and that allows Scott Douglas to make a little ground on it every time he comes off that jump.
Well, watch right here as they come down into the rhythm section. He gets a little wide. Douglas on the left there trying to move through. They are side by side.
Ooh, good move on Scott's part. He can try to get him on the outside here.
Oh, but Crowder gets into him. Can they straighten it out? Oh, no, it's even going further. Both trucks spin all the way around. Who's going to recover first? It looks like it'll be Crowder.
Jimmy Crowder gets away first, and where is Scott Douglas?
Well, Jed Flannery has gotten around Scott Douglas, so that's the battle for fourth now between Jimmy Crowder and Jed Flannery. There was Douglas right at the back of your screen. So it looks like, let's get another look at it, take us through it, and who's at fault on this one, Ivan?
Well, I tell you, it looks to me like Scott is trying to get around the outside. Jimmy drives into him a little bit here, but the bad part, I think, is whenever he really gets into his door here, really pushes on him. Although his brake lights are on, Marty, he's, you know, that was a little over-aggressive driving.
And they both end up getting hooked, but it cost Scott Douglas more than it did Jimmy Crowder. Here is the battle back up front for the lead. You're on board with second place Scott Taylor. That is Walker Evans right in front of him.
He's trying everything. He tries the inside, the outside.
Up over what will be the finish line jump right there, heading down for turn one.
Let's see if Walker goes wide on this. Is that left-hander he got real wide on a couple laps ago. He might have some steering problems.
Oh, wait a minute. There's trouble on the BF Goodrich Ford of Scott Taylor. Oh, smoke pouring. That looks like it could be either a motor or transmission. Well, won't have to worry about mosquitoes.
Boy, I tell you, it's got a major problem. Probably, you know, it's one of the two. You're right, Marty.
This, look at Scott Taylor. He's holding his hands up. He knows right now his points lead is going to slip away. And Walker Evans knows, because he's on the radio with Randy Anderson, that he has control of this race.
Well, he has the pressure now. He doesn't have the pressure from Scott Taylor, but now he has the pressure from Jamie Flannery.
But Flannery's going to have to reel him in. The laps are winding down. And he has about, a 7 or 8 truck length lead over second place, Jamie Flannery.
I don't think Jamie will catch him, providing Walker's truck doesn't continue to die or any of those problems come up.
Well, they said they had that little carburetor problem taken care of. Oh, no, and another racer out, Jimmy Crowder. He was running in 4th place. I'm wondering if that was a result of the tangle with Scott Douglas. Now, that is Jed Flannery, who has moved into 3rd place, and that moves Scott Douglas up to 4th. Here comes Scott Douglas. You get a shot of the damage on that left fender. Oh, he's having all kinds of problems. He's got a flat right front tire, and that is Dave Hockers moving around to take the position. Now, that is Dave Hockers moving into 4th place.
That is really a frustrating feeling to have that happen to you.
But coming right back despite the flat on the inside, but he's going to lose it right here. That tire's about ready to shred into about 1,000 pieces, and Dave Hockers will now be able to open up some ground. The laps are winding down, and the pit is all the way around the course. He is about a half a mile from pit lane.
He's also got some smoke coming out the back of that. That's a brand new Dodge that they're also having teething problems with. There's some kind of some smoke.
Could it be the tire rubbing along the fender well?
Well, I was looking at that. It's hard to say. Yeah, you could be right. It could be rubbing that fender well.
We're on the final lap. Walker Evans in control of this race. The victory will move him into the points lead in Class 8. If you remember last year at this point, he was struggling to find the championship. So after 2 races, he's going to have the points lead. And there is the checkered flag for Walker Evans as he takes the win here at Anago at the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships. Second place will be Jamie Flannery. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner here at the Langley County Fairgrounds. Back at the Chevrolet Off-Road Championships in Anago, Wisconsin. Let's check the final results in Class 8. Walker Evans, Jamie Flannery, and his brother Jed finish 1, 2, 3. And Scott Taylor finishes in 10th place. Let's go to Victory Lane with Ivan.
Walker, you told me you're going to get this real serious. You're going to come out here and win some races, get a point championship. You lead. You got a 1st and a 2nd. How's it feel?
Well, it does feel really, really good. I'll tell you, I was a little concerned going into this race. After all, when you pop a motor in practice, have to, like we talked about, put another motor in, not knowing what it can do, and come out here and run like that. I'll tell you, I am happy. A 1st and a 2nd. Yeah, I'll take it.
The Two things. My heart skipped a beat. I saw you get a little sideways back there, and I noticed it killed the motor. Something died in the motor. What happened there?
Well, if your heart skipped a beat, it came clear up to my throat, because I was wondering, what in the world happened? You know, I jumped into a corner a little bit hot, a little sideways, and the gas sloshed over, I guess, and I just hit the starter button, and it cranked about 3 times and lit off. And I said, boy, I better not let that happen again. I had to go back and run him down again.
So let's check now the point standings for the True Value Pro Series Championship at Class 8. Walker Evans takes a 10-point lead over Scott Taylor, and Scott Douglas and Dave Hockers are tied for third with 23. A tie for fifth between Jimmy Crowder and John Conitzer. Then Brian Donlevy, Jamie Flannery, and Jed Flannery round out the points battle here in Class 8. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, today is in Crandon, Wisconsin for the third round of the SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing. It's the Chevrolet Spring Run. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, working alongside with Ivan, the Iron Man steward. But in Class 8, a different story from last year's championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marty, that's right. Walker Evans last year at this time wasn't even a contender. Wasn't a factor at all. He had a disastrous season as far as the points championship goes. This year, he got serious. He built a new truck. He's driving hard. He's driving fast. He's leading the championships. He got a first and a second. He's tough to beat.
He has got a 10-point lead, to be specific. And weather conditions are absolutely ideal. 80 degrees. Humidity's a little on the sticky side, but a nice northwesterly 15-mile-an-hour breeze as we take a look at this layout.
Marty, we talked about the fast tracks. This is the fastest one of all the tracks that we do. Oklahoma Land Rush start. Very important to get down to that first right-hand corner. Fastest corner in all the racetracks we do. Probably 70, 80 miles an hour around there. If you miss that corner, you're going to Parsons Pond. 2
areas that you can pass. The first one being at the gravel pit.
That's right. That's a sharp left-hand corner. We see a lot of passing there. And then another hairpin back up toward the start-finish line.
And then the long straightaway on the backstretch leading to the final turn, the other key passing zone.
That's exactly right, Marty. Those are the key areas for getting around this racetrack, and the passing points are the most critical.
And if you can't pass, you can't win, because this is absolutely the fastest layout on the tour, 2 miles in length, and we're ready now for Class 8 action. Let's set up the True Value Pro Points Championship as it stands right now. Walker Evans with a 10-point lead over Scott Taylor. Scott Douglas and Dave Hockers tied for third. Jimmy Crowder and John Conitzer tied for fifth. There you see the rest of the top 10 as Brian Donlevy, Jamie Flannery, his brother Jed, and Darren Vandrell round out the top 10 in the True Value Pro Series. Now you're looking at the onboard camera with Scott Taylor. That's out the back of his BF Goodrich Racing Ford. And tell us what Class 8's all about, Ivan.
Marty, these are two-wheel drive production pickups. Engines 600 to 800 cubic inches, make about 500 to 850 horsepower. Minimum weight 3,700 pounds.
And here is the Chevrolet starting field. Walker Evans will be on board his Dodge. He is the current points leader, number 2. Right behind him by 10 is Scott Taylor. He'll be in the Ford. Then another of the Dodge contingent, Scott Douglas. He'll be in the number 807. Dave Hockers, a member of the Ford team. He'll be in the number 802. Jimmy Crowder's another member of the Ford contingent. He'll be in the 837. And then Jed Flannery, part of the Chevrolet Army, he'll be driving the 812. His brother, Jamie Flannery, will be in another of the Chevrolets. There you see him there with the rest of the starting field. And again, this start all important.
Marty, let me tell you about it. We talk about Oklahoma Land Rush. You look at the herd of trucks we've got here. We have got a bunch of them.
And the green flag drops, and we are underway here at Crandon in the Chevrolet Spring Run. And hold on, we're just going to sit back and survive turn 1.
Oh, that's close.
Oh, up and over. That is Jed Flannery, as he is still going, Ivan.
Marty, he's only lost 2 positions, I believe, right there.
The first time that we've seen anybody roll and keep moving at that rate of speed. And as you said, he only lost 2 positions. Walker Evans is the leader. Scott Douglas appears to be in second place right now as they make their way down towards the gravel pit. Oh, no, and that's Jamie Flannery's high center.
Yeah, he got way too fast at turn 1 there, or turn 2, rather. He came up.
Take a look at this again. Walker cuts over, and it looks like Jamie gets into Jed with a little assist from Walker Evans.
He just came up and bumped that berm, and that's what it does. But you know, Marty, these trucks are designed to get upside down.
Take a look at it again here. There is Walker Evans, and there's the tail end of the flip.
We say a lot of times in racing that cars have roll cages in case they get upside down. Off-road racing, we know it's going to happen.
Out of the final turn, onto the front straightaway for the second time. It's Walker Evans, Scott Douglas, and Scott Taylor. And Taylor taking a different line.
Look at the line he's taking over there. Obviously, he thinks that's the quicker line, and it looks like he may have gained some ground there, Marty.
There is first, second, and third. 2 Dodgers and a Ford. Walker Evans, Scott Douglas, and Scott Taylor. And boy, look at the damage from that collision in the very first turn on Scott Douglas's right side.
Scott Douglas got something tore off beside, and remember, he has all of his oil and pressure pumps and all those things are in that area, so I also see smoke coming from there, Marty. Let's watch that.
And trying to make a dive on the inside, Scott Taylor, he takes a look but can't do it. And you're right, a lot of smoke, and now we're on board. And there goes Scott Taylor around Scott Douglas.
He got by him. I got a feel that Scott may have, boy, that's a great shot out of the back there.
As he came over the jump, this is the final turn where it'll set you up to the finish line. There you see what will be the finish line of the race. And now it is Walker Evans first, Scott Taylor second, Scott Douglas third. That's exactly how they are in the points championship heading into this race.
Well, I tell you, Walker Evans is serious about this point championship, Marty. He hasn't won it in the Midwest, and he wants it in the worst way.
And you see the damage on Walker's right side of his vehicle, which shows where he got into Scott Douglas, who in turn got into Jet Flannery in that first turn crash.
Well, I tell you what, though, Scott Taylor is not going to let him get away.
Great racing action here at Crandon. Speeds up over 100 miles an hour on the straightaway. That is Chuck Brandon. He's got big problems.
He's got major problems. He's got an axle coming loose, maybe a flat, and he's also got an engine problem, Marty.
So Chuck's day looks like it's going to be coming to a very quick end. Boy, you're right. Look at that right rear. It looks like just the flat. The axle seems to be okay.
Yeah, the axle's fine. He's just down the wheel.
Dave Hawker's currently in 4th place as he makes his way down through. Oh, getting a little sideways there, locking up the left front. And here it is, back to the lead pack. It has dwindled to 2. Scott Douglas is losing ground. It's Walker Evans through turn 2, and the Ford of Scott Taylor right behind him.
He might be gaining just a little on Scott Taylor, but watch him, very little.
Tremendous racing action up front here. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll show you the conclusion of the Class A Championship at the Chevrolet Spring Run. Walker Evans is your leader. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, Rick Johnson is in pit lane, and this is Class 8 racing action as we have got a great battle for the lead going on.
Notice Scott Taylor's changed his line again. I think he might be gaining on Walker.
He gained on him. He's passed him. We're looking out the back of Scott Taylor, and there you see Walker Evans in 2nd place. Boy, so the pass worked.
He found the right line through that area. There's a lot of moguls through there. Boy, I tell you what, he found a great line.
Walker looked to the inside through turn 2, and boy, it hung him out to dry. Oh, boy, both of them got high there on that corner.
He did, yeah. Walker's pressing way out of the loose stuff. He might be having some kind of a problem.
He is falling back. They're heading down into the gravel pit area. This is a huge 180-degree corner. Sets you up for this big jump coming the other way. And, boy, look how far out Walker is.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to predict he's having some sort of a steering problem or something, it looks like, Marty. He's not going like he was, for sure. He's not going as hard as he was earlier.
And here comes Scott Douglas closing on Walker Evans. So the 2 Dodges may be battling it out for 2nd place momentarily. Scott Taylor is in 1st. He needs to score points. He trails Walker Evans in the True Value Pro Point Series by 10. Boy, this truck looks like it's taking a pounding.
Boy, it is. There's all those equipment inside there. You can see that that's the oil pump, what have you.
Looks like a broken spring, and that is Chuck Brand's truck. So he is now out of the race. That wheel has fallen off. Back to Scott Taylor, our leader. Look at the crowd here at Crandon, watching and enjoying this Class 8 race. Oh, little smoke out of his. It looks like he may have a broken radiator.
Yeah, he's got some heat coming out of the radiator. He doesn't have too many laps to go. He might be able to make this, Marty.
So Scott Taylor also developing a potential problem. Now remember, he was following Walker there in the early go and may have taken a lot of mud into the front end of that vehicle.
Now keep in mind, a lot of these guys are using radio, so if his crew is telling him that Walker's falling back, Scott Douglas isn't pressuring him, he can slow down a little bit and save that motor.
And he does have a very big lead over 2nd place right now. Can he hold on to it? Green flag is still out.
Boy, that is worrisome, let me tell you. You start seeing, Walker's out.
Walker Evans slowing down. This will hurt him in the points championship. He leads by 10. Now remember, there's 20 points to the winner of each race, 16 for 2nd, 14 for 3rd. Now Walker looks like he's getting back out. So let's go down to pit side with Rick Johnson and Randy Anderson.
Walker was running strong in the beginning of the race, and all of a sudden his speed just started to taper down worse and worse. Now he's just trickling around. What's going on?
I think we lost the torque converter. It's not running hot. She's just slipping, and we don't know. This is craning for you. A lot of horsepower, a lot of traction, lost torque converter today, it looks like.
Marty, that's, you know, I thought maybe it was a steering problem, but torque converters, as Randy said, is a big factor here. They generate lots of heat, and it is really hard on those transmissions.
Boy, I'll tell you, there is new second place, Scott Douglas. Looks like he's been through a war. Most of that happened in that very first turn accident. Walker is back out there. He's trying to keep going just to score points, and he gets passed by Dave Hockers.
He's probably trying to get the transmission to cool down. They get extremely hot, over 300 degrees. He's trying to get the temperature down. Maybe it'll start at least make enough, get enough traction to get on around a track. It doesn't look like it, though, Marty.
Points are points, and boy, they are critical. Now, Dave Hockers has moved up into third place, so he is doing very well right now. And this will help him in the points championship. We're going to have a great battle as we are down to the last lap with 3 rounds of racing to go after the midway point in the True Value Pro Point Series. Scott Taylor, boy, he's nursing it. It sounds sick.
It does. It sounds bad. He's really looking hard for that finish line. He's just praying right now. Come on, baby, just get me home.
Scott Douglas is closing. We can tell you he's not in camera view yet, but he is closing down on Scott Taylor. And boy, the steam is really pouring.
Anytime you see that steam come out the exhaust pipe down there, we got major problems. Ooh, that sounds bad, Marty, really bad.
He has got this jump and 1 turn yet to complete to take the checkered flag. Boy, look at how slow he is. Where is Scott Douglas? I don't think he's going to be up. There he is in the back. He will not have enough time to get around. 1 more lap and he would have been able to do it, but here will be the checkered flag as Scott Taylor limps home to take the win here at the Chevrolet Spring Run. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner and we will update the True Value Pro Point Series standings. Don't go anywhere, as Scott Taylor has done a great job here in our first race at the Chevrolet Spring Run. Back at the Chevrolet Spring Run, taking a look at the final results. Scott Taylor, Scott Douglas, first and second. Dave Hockers in third. Walker Evans able to limp home in fourth, and that's going to make the points battle interesting. Let's go to Ivan Stewart at Victory Lane with our winner.
Well, I tell you, Scott Taylor, that you didn't get a fantastic start. Not a bad start, but it worked out for you.
I got a lousy start today, but I thought with a couple of laps of wet ground and wet track, I'll pick my time to pass and really start pushing the pressure on, and that's what I did. I went with my strategy I thought about last night, and I told all my guys, and I said, I'm going to stand on the gas today. Walker's in my sights.
You really did. You know, you have 1 DNF, you got 2 firsts. You're in the points race. We thought maybe you were going to fall out, but you're looking pretty good now.
Yeah, we're starting to come back around. We had a couple little problems that we had to dial in, and it was with some transmission and torque converters and coolers and all that stuff. You know, you've been there. And now we've got it. We feel real confident about it. We've got a lot of backing behind us, Ford Motor Company and all the rest of the associate sponsors with the BF Goodrich Tires and Haviland and all of them. And it's all really coming together, Ivan.
Let's take a look at the True Value Pro Series standings in Class 8, and it has tightened up dramatically. Walker Evans now leads only by 2 over Scott Taylor. On down through the list, you can see John Conitzer, Jimmy Crowder, Jed and Jamie Flannery, and Chuck Brand rounding out the top 10. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage today, is in Luxembourg, Wisconsin for round number 4 of the SOTA World Series of off-road racing. It's the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, and whoever would have thought that such a plentiful commodity as dirt would become such a plentiful racing resource? Well, it certainly has in the sport of off-road racing. And right now, if you take a look at the championship battle in our True Value Pro Point Series, you will see the closest race that we've ever had in all 3 professional categories. In Class 8, Walker Evans by 2 points over Scott Taylor, but Scott Douglas and Dave Hockers still in the hunt. Brian Dunleavy's going to have to win today if he wants a shot at the championship. Taking a look at the race conditions, we have definitely got a chance of rain. In fact, it is already starting to rain, and the chances of it getting harder are about 100% according to the weatherman. Let's take a look at the Luxembourg layout, Ivan.
Well, Marty, this starts off on the Kewanee Fairgrounds Oval. Good start, real tight first left-hand corner, back around, back in this tight section on the right-hand side of the course. It's going to be tight back there, really hard to pass. The passing's going to be back in this long sweeper back to the backside.
But now we'll try and see what happens with Class 8 as they come to the line and get ready. You're looking at Walker Evans. the living legend of off-road racing. He has a 2-point lead in the Class 8 True Value Pro Series over Scott Taylor. Scott Douglas in third with 39. Dave Hockers and Brian Dunleavy round out the top 5. Then John Conitzer, Jimmy Crowder, Jed Flannery, his brother Jamie Flannery, yes, they are the sons of Jack, and Chuck Brand round out the top 10. Now we've got 2 onboard camera systems. You're looking out the front view of Scott Taylor's Ford, and there is the Dodge of Scott Douglas, and I don't know how long they're going to last. Maybe if one of them stays up front. Tell us what Class 8's all about, Ivan.
2-wheel drive, Marty. Production pickup. Engine 600, 800 cubic inches. Again, 500 to 850 horsepower. Minimum weight of 3,700 pounds.
Let's take a look at the Chevrolet starting field. Points leader Walker Evans. He'll be in the Dodge, number 817. Scott Taylor. He'll be a leader of the Ford contingent in number 800. Scott Douglas, another of the Dodge. Not heavily factory-backed and doing very well in his first year in the series. Dave Hockers, another driver in the Ford contingent. He'll be in the number 802. Jed Flannery, part of the Chevrolet contingent at number 812. Then Jimmy Crowder back in a Ford with number 837. Rest of the starting field, Chuck Brand, Brian Dunleavy, and John Conitzer as we're just about ready to go racing. And this is very soupy. Now, the rain has stopped, at least momentarily, as the green flag flies, and you're on board with Scott Douglas.
Sound like he's putting some horsepower down, Marty.
Yeah, but what's going to happen in this first turn?
When he goes to turn, we'll see what happens.
Whoa, pushing bad. Listen to it trying to nurse it through. Whoa, and he's around. And look, now he's got a view of everybody else behind him. Now, this is a situation. Look at everybody just struggling. Scott Taylor's back there struggling as well.
Marty, remember now, these engines are moved back. The weight is moved off the engine. We talked about that, so you don't have that weight over those front tires. Much more difficult to turn now. These guys are really going to struggle.
So Brian Dunleavy is the early leader. And boy, wouldn't this be a surprise if Brian could hold on and take this win, because Brian just doesn't have the budget that some of these other teams have.
No, he certainly doesn't. This is going to be thrilling for him to get out here and be ahead of Walker Evans and these guys, and Scott Taylor.
Jed Flannery going by in second place. Here comes Scott Douglas diving underneath Chuck Brand, and he takes third position. Brand getting hung out there, as well as Jimmy Crowder, and there is Scott Taylor.
And Brian Dunleavy spins, Jed Flannery second, and let me tell you, where is Walker Evans?
Yeah, well, Flannery gets past Dunleavy, so now he's into the lead, and you're right, Walker is nowhere to be found. And while these guys slog their way through the mud, why don't we take you back and show you how we got to this point of the season. Back at Luxembourg, that is Scott Douglas. Oh, and you saw Jed Flannery spinning, and Scott Douglas is your new leader in Class 8. Look at him shifting as he's trying to slog his way through the mud. The Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge, Douglas is your leader. Stay with us. We'll finish this race right after this. Marty Reed, Ivan Stewart, and Rick Johnson back with you at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge, and it has been a challenge for Scott Douglas. There you see him coming through the screen. Second place is Jed Flannery in his best run of the season. Could not catch who third was. That's how muddy it has become. That looks like Dave Hockers in fourth.
Listen to the engine RPM come way up, Marty, and the trucks just are not moving.
That's Scott Taylor in fifth. And what has happened to points leader Walker Evans? Well, there he is. He's got all kinds of problems. He's about to be passed by John Conitzer as he slides off the course one more time. Let's go down to pit lane with Rick Johnson. He's talking to crew chief Randy Anderson.
It seems like a lot of the trucks out there having troubles. They're not making the turns. You guys set the trucks up with so much weight in the back so they'll fly proud, and now you don't have any traction on the front wheels to turn.
That's right. You have no traction on the front. They work good in the rough and fly good, but in the mud, they don't turn.
As you can see, it's not only Walker Evans' problem, but everybody else out there. They set the trucks up light in the front, and that's the worst setup you can have in the mud because you need traction to turn them front wheels.
Well, at least he found a rain slicker. Look at this. Scott Taylor is out of this race. This is going to hurt him in the Pro Points Series. And this is the battle between Dave Hockers and Jed Flannery. And Flannery has dropped back a position. Hockers has moved around. And Hockers has yet to win this season on the tour, but consistent top 5 finishes has been his key to staying in the True Value Pro Series Championship.
Well, the same thing, Marty. This type of a course, this is a perfect example. Just keep moving, keep moving. This is something that can happen in off-road racing. It's certainly got a disastrous race course, but just keep getting battle through it and see what happens.
Yeah, there's some days that you just can't beat Mother Nature. Although right now we're on the final lap for Scott Douglas. This will be a big feather in his cap as he has been trying to impress everyone this season in his first year out on tour and has done an extremely good job.
Marty, I'll bet you that truck weighs 800 pounds more than when it started.
There is mud up under everything. Here's the checkered flag and the first win in the SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing for Scott Douglas, all the way from California, as he takes the checkered flag. And, well, it's okay to spin now, Scott, as we'll see him in victory lane. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Checking the final results in Class 8 at the Chevrolet Off-Road Challenge. Scott Douglas with his first win ever on the SOTA World Series of Off-Road Racing. And on down through the pack, you see Walker Evans finishes in 6th, Scott Taylor in 9th. Let's go down to victory lane. Ivan, it's all yours.
Well, Scott, you said that when you come out here to the Midwest to race in the SOTA Series, you're bound and determined to win a race, and you finally got one. Frustrating one, but you got her.
That's right. It was. We got the win, and it was quite a race in this mud hole here. This is really Midwest racing, I guess.
You know, the mud is obviously a big factor. Why are the trucks having such a hard time turning?
Well, the two-wheel drives and they're locked rear ends, so it wants to go just like your tractor at home. It wants to go straight when you turn the wheels, and it's really hard for us. We got to throttle it around. As you saw, it was a bear all the way, and patience, I think, won the race, plus the crew lowered the truck, changed some tires right before when the rains hit, and I got to thank them a lot, too.
We talk about tires, tire grooving, the Goodyear tires. Did you choose the right tire? We know that we just see everybody slipping and sliding, but you seem to get around, toward the end, you started to get around pretty well. Yeah,
we like I said, Goodyear grooved up a special set of tires, a little bit bigger than what we normally run in the back, gave us a little bit more forward bite. We kind of have our own strategy in the front. With Goodyear, we have a different cut that we use than anybody else, and it really seemed to pay off because I think we made it around the turns a little bit better than everybody else.
Well, checking the True Value Pro Series, Scott Douglas has vaulted into the lead by 1 point over Walker Evans, by 6 over Scott Taylor and Dave Hawkers, as we've got a great battle heading into round number 5. Checking positions 6 through 10, John Conniser with another steady performance. Jimmy Crowder in 7th, Jed Flannery, Chuck Brand, and Jamie Flannery. And this is what happens from time to time in off-road racing. You have to go back out and pick up your drive shaft and head back to pit lane. You know, getting your car set up right, or your truck in this case, is always a key in any form of racing. Ivan Stewart talks about suspension today.
This is Scott Taylor's big Ford Class 8 truck, and suspension technology has always been a big part of off-road racing. This particular truck has got 20 inches of wheel travel. A stock truck's got just about 6 inches of wheel travel. This shock absorber costs you just about $900. A stock shock costs you about $35. If you don't have this kind of technology, racing on a track out here with these caliber drivers, you're not going to be able to win races. You've got to have this type of technology.
ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, today is in Crandon, Wisconsin for the 25th running of the Chevrolet World Championship. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, and over my shoulder you can see the capacity crowd beginning to file in as they're getting ready for a great day of racing as we celebrate the silver anniversary of this great event here in Crandon, Wisconsin. And boy, what a showdown we have in store for you. The True Value Pro Series Championship in all 3 categories will be decided today at this track, and Class 8 is going to be a classic battle. Walker Evans, Scott Douglas, and Scott Taylor are within 1 point of each other. Evans is the leader. Taylor and Douglas behind him by only 1 point. Our Ivan Stewart is with Walker Evans.
We have got a real battle in Class 8. I've got Walker Evans here. He's got a 1 point lead. You got 3 guys that can win this championship. You've never won here in the SOTA Series. You've come close before, and I know you've won championships all over the country in Mexico. What are we going to do to win this championship?
Well, we're going to run hard. There's no doubt about it. I'm the closest to winning a championship, and I'm not going to let it get away. I've got to go out there and run fast, and I've got to put the pedal to the metal, and that Dodge is going to come through for me.
You've got 1 point lead. If I were in your position, I'd want that lead too. Even though it's 1 point, it really doesn't mean a lot because the winner's going to win the championship. But I want that psychological advantage. The other guys have got to know that you were the guy to beat. That's the way you feel?
Oh, you bet it is. And that's just what I did this morning in practice. I went out and I passed every one of them, and I showed them who's got the dominating power. And that's what you got to do. It's a psychological thing too. And you bet I'm going to run that truck hard right to the finish line and secure that championship.
That's funny how Walker and I think exactly alike. We thought the same way for the last 20 years we've been running together.
Take a look at that crowd as we take a look at also at the race conditions. 65 beautiful degrees, only a 20% chance of rain. This is absolutely ideal conditions.
Great racetrack we got to. This is the granddaddy, Marty, the big one. Oklahoma land race start. You've got to get to that first corner first. 2-mile track, lots of speed. You better bring some horsepower.
Yes, and they put up a fence around Parsons Pond because it was named after Dave Parsons after he took a swim several years ago. So we don't have to worry about anybody dropping into the pond. Now, we're getting ready now for race action. I'll tell you what, there's no smile on this guy's face. That's Walker Evans, and Class 8 is coming to the starting line, and he's ready. Yeah, look at him. He knows what's at stake. Let's take a look at the True Value Pro Series standings. There you see it. 1 point separates the top 3. Dave Hockers has a mathematical chance, but the other 3 must break. Now, we had a chance to talk to Taylor, Douglas, and Hockers before the start of the event.
There's going to be some chances taken today, and it's going to be a calculated risk, but you know, it's down to the wire. The pressure's on, bottom of the 9th, everybody's on, and I'm up to bat, you know, and I'm a point out. That big F-150 can do it, and we're going to go for it today.
It's come down to this one race, and it's winner take all. We don't have to take anything home. Doesn't matter what the vehicles come back like. Doesn't matter, you know, what goes on. We're going to run up front, run as hard as we can, and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, I'm hoping that the 3 guys that are ahead of me in the points, I'm going to walk away with them, and they're going to have a battle between the 3 of them, take each other out, and I'll just skate through to the winning circle.
Class 8, Marty, 2-wheel drive, production pickups. Engine makes about 850 horsepower. Minimum weight of 3,700 pounds.
And let's take a look now at the Chevrolet starting field. There he is, Walker Evans at age 55 from Riverside, California. Never won a championship in soda. He may do it today. Scott Taylor, the defending champion here in Class 8. He is 1 point behind, as is Scott Douglas. And remember, he is driving with a broken leg. That's how much he wants it. Dave Hockers, he has got a mathematical shot, but like we said, everybody else has got to break. Jamie Flannery could play the role of spoiler in that Chevrolet. Also, his brother Jed, same deal here. Jed had a real tough spring race, did a rollover, managed to keep the truck rolling, though, and did a fine job in that effort. Now, here's the rest of the starting field as we're ready. And look at those 3 trucks on the far right side. Everybody has a different strategy as the green flag flies, and we're ready for the Class 8 showdown.
Marty, the 3 trucks on the right, those guys have obviously seen something they like. They see that there's a harder ground or less bumps over there.
Well, we go into turn 1 flat foot, and it looks like Walker Evans may have the lead. And contact in the back of the pack. There's a spin. It looks like John Conitzer. Oh, and Brian Donlevy comes across, and that is Gary Garton, who rolls over and comes to a rest on his side. Hopefully everybody is okay. We'll get back to that in a second. Take a look now. It's Walker Evans in front. Second place is Jamie Flannery. Third place is Scott Douglas. Scott Taylor is 4th, and there is Dave Hockers in 5th. Let's go back and take another look at this, Ivan.
I was trying to look at this, Marty. I think they just got together up there in the dust. Yeah, a little bit of contact. He gets sideways, comes right across the field, or just where you don't want to do it at those high speeds, and wham, he gets hit by...
Boy, Jimmy Crowder just barely made it through. Garton's the one who rolls.
It's Garton, that's right, who actually hit him, yes.
And everybody is okay, so that's the best news that we can pass along. There is race leader Walker Evans. Second place, Jamie Flannery. We talked about he might play the role of spoiler. Remember, this is his home track. And there's third place, Scott Douglas. Where is Scott Taylor? There he is. Ooh, he's going to get on the horse quick.
He is going to have to if he's going to do anything in this race, Marty.
On board with Scott Taylor. Let's listen. Let's see if we can pick up something. Like he's having trouble getting the power down.
A little bit lazy there on the throttle. He might be having a problem.
So right now, Walker Evans, who came into this race with a 1 point lead and the only championship that he has never won in his career. He has won in the Stadium Series. He has won in the desert. 18 titles in all.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it takes determination to win championships, he's got it for this. He is really up for this championships. He wants it the worst way, Mark.
He has been focused all weekend. Jamie Flannery, I'll tell you what, remember our last race at Lake Odessa? He and Walker got into it side by side, and Walker got a little bit of the best of him, but he learned a lot, and it's paying off here. On board now with third place, Scott Douglas. Douglas got to find a way to get around the 21-year-old youngster.
This is the motor rev up. This is down through the valley here. The truck gets light. The engine goes up in RPM.
Now we're looking back in fifth place. That's Dave Hockers and Jed Flannery. Flannery closing down and has Hockers under attack. And Hockers, as we said, the only way he can win the championship is if the first three break. And the odds against that are slim and hate to say it, none.
I'd say awfully slim at this point, Marty.
There is race leader Walker Evans, and he has got a very comfortable lead over second and third. Could he be pushing it too hard too soon?
Well, you know, sometimes I've seen Walker do this in the past, and he'll push it and push it and push it, even though he's got a big lead. And I'm not sure that's always wise, but I've always like to do the same thing. I want these guys to know I can beat them. I got them right where I want them.
Well, will Walker Evans run everybody into the ground? We'll find out at the Chevrolet World Championships right after this. Chevrolet World Championships, Marty Reed along with Ivan Stewart. Rick Johnson is in pit lane, and there is your race leader. We're going to get an interval, see how big the lead is. Walker Evans in front of second place, Jamie Flannery. Oh, my goodness. This is a country mile.
And he'll do this every time. He'll have a big lead like this, and you watch, he'll just keep standing on the gas pedal.
That's 15 seconds. Then here's third place, Scott Douglas at 18 seconds, and Scott Taylor at 20 seconds plus. Now, going right back to what we were talking about as we're on board with Scott Taylor. He's closing down on third place. Is Walker Evans gambling now? Should he sort of back out and let it breathe a little?
Well, Walker and I have talked about this a lot in the past, and what happens, and I have done the same thing, a lot of drivers, you break that rhythm. You don't want to break that rhythm, get down and running too slow. You end up catching a rock or something or catching a berm. Keep that rhythm going.
Well, that is John Conitzer in front of Scott Taylor, and he's having trouble getting around him, and that's allowed Scott Douglas, there he is, Douglas off in the distance, to open up the margin between third and fourth. Now, this is the battle for fifth place. That is Jed Flannery. He has gotten around Dave Hockers, so Hockers has fallen back a position to sixth. Jed Flannery in front. That's a Chevy-Ford battle. Chevy in front of Ford at this point. Those guys going after each other. Hockers, again, an independent. Look, he's going to try and dive on the inside.
You can try and outbreak him.
He does not have. Look at it. He's got that left front locked up. It's flying off the ground. Nice pass by Dave Hockers.
That was a great move. The truck wallowed off to one side. He didn't get all the brakes on the ground. Then all the tires were off the ground.
Neither one of these guys have factory backing. They do as best they can and do a marvelous job with a limited budget. I mean, if you knew how little they had to spend compared to the Walker Evans and the Jack Flannerys of the world, you'd be patting him on the back for the fact that he is fourth place in the points and coming into the final race of the season still had a shot at the championship.
You're right, Marty. That's really saying something. As you mentioned, there's a big, big difference in money here, I guarantee you, between this truck and those two guys.
You saw the white flag. It's out for Walker Evans. Walker, and we're back on board now as Scott Taylor has closed the gap on Scott Douglas.
You know, Scott may be fighting it. You know, when we talked about his boot.
Oh, no! Taylor loops it. He takes it all the way around in the gravel pit. So any chance that Scott Taylor had of gaining third place has just gone around in a 360-degree spin, and we will have another new champion crowned this year as Scott Taylor will not repeat here in Class 8. In fact, there is the man that is going to take it away unless he breaks. He's on the final lap. Last time down that long straightaway heading for turn number 1, Walker Evans, 55 years old. Here's a question for you. Now that he's won this championship, or is about to, as he's approaching Chuck Brand, chucked a lap vehicle, do you think he might consider retirement?
No, Marty, I seriously don't think so. I think he just loves this out here. He just goes fast. He wins races. You know, and he's competitive as heck. There's no way that he's going to quit doing this that I can see.
Well, I just had to ask you because I know he's already planning for next year. He's talking to sponsors, but you never know. You know, you might change your mind after you've won everything that you possibly can. Here he comes up over the last jump. Walker Evans at age 55 puts another championship in his crown as he crosses the finish line here at the 25th anniversary of the Chevrolet World Championships to take the Class A championship here and the True Value Pro Series title as well. So Walker Evans, the 19th major championship title in his trophy case. And when we come back, we'll talk to the legend himself. Stay with us. The final results here at the Chevrolet World Championships. Walker Evans, Jamie Flannery in second, Scott Douglas in third, Scott Taylor fourth, and Dave Hockers rounds out the top 5. There's 6th through 9th place, and Ivan Stewart's made his way to victory lane to talk to our winner.
1994 True Value Class 8 points champion Walker Evans. Congratulations. Let me first want to congratulate you. It was a tough year, though, believe me.
It certainly has been. I'll tell you, the point battle has gone back and forth, and I came into the last race with only 1 point ahead, and 2 guys tied. Any one of the other 2 could have won this race and been right here. But I'll tell you, I came out on top, and I'm very happy to be here, believe me.
Walker, we're going to see you next year.
Well, certainly you're going to see me next year. We got to get the 19th championship around here. This marks my 19th. We got to go for the 20th one.
Well, you can see the champagne celebrations all over the background area there. Walker Evans with 94 points over Scott Douglas in second. Scott Taylor will finish third, just 2 points behind Douglas. Dave Hawker's in fourth and John Conitzer fifth. There is 6 through 10 in the final standings in Class 8 in the True Value Pro Series for 1994.